Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to continue our scholarly examination of Killraven, the featured character of Amazing Adventures featuring War of the Worlds. Today we're looking at number 37 and 39. These 39 is the last issue of Amazing Adventures, and the story of Killraven wouldn't be finished for another, 6 years or so, when they published a graphic novel. Marvel published a graphic novel, kind of wrapping up the story. But once again, number 38's out here because it was just a useless fill-in issue written by Bill Mantlo and drawn by Keith Giffen, and has nothing to do with the story, really. So I got rid of it years ago. I just want the real story by Don McGregor and P. Craig Russell. Let's start off with number 37. Of course, beautiful cover by P. Craig Russell. And unfortunately, this issue is inked by Jack Abel. But I gotta say, Jack Abel does a lot of interesting stuff in this issue. I'll point it out. Actually, right here, the first page, some of the inking has this very slashy, choppiness to it, and I've never seen Jack Abel ink like that. It kind of looks cool in some of these places. Definitely not as good as Craig Russell inking himself, but it's pretty interesting and pretty neat. So the Freemen have made it to the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge. It's New Year's Eve 2020. Well, in the comic. And so I guess these guys who live there, they attack Killraven and his band of freedom fighters. And this main guy is named Brother Axe. So we start off pretty much right with the action. The story's called Arena Kill. And of course, Killraven wins again, like he always does. Nice panels here. That's pretty nice stuff, even with the Jack Abel inks. So Killraven convinces them they're buddies. They're against the Martians. And they should be allies. Takes a little convincing, though. But luckily, Mashulla and Carmela Frost and Old Skull knock a few heads. And they realize, okay, let's not fight these guys. So they take him into this refuge. Old Skull looks like he cooks dinner for everyone. And this cute little raccoon's hanging around. And Killraven starts to tell him about, Axe brother, starts telling him a story about in the arenas when he used to be a gladiatorial fighter. And he starts to tell the story, and Old Skull interrupts. And he's like, the story's got to start at the beginning, Mr. Killraven. Can't go starting in the middle. So he just hijacks the story and starts talking about his life. So this is almost like the origin of Old Skull. Before the Martians invaded, he was he was a retarded kid, simple-minded, and he was always bald. So all the kids made fun of him. They called him Numbskull. And meanwhile, back in the present, Old Skull's befriending this raccoon, and the raccoon is getting into his wine. So Old Skull talks about his dad. His dad was one of the last cattlemen, ranchers. Wasn't a very nice dad, especially to Old Skull. And his only friend was this calf, this sickly calf. And Killraven starts telling his story again in the gladiatorial pits, but Old Skull interrupts again. And that raccoon's being a pain in the ass. So Old Skull says, "Oh no, Mr. Killraven, there's still some, backstory. We gotta tell the whole story right." So he starts talking more about his childhood. And Old Skull remembers when the Martians attacked and these tripods show up. And basically killed a whole lot of humans, and all the humans that survived became slaves. So now we're in the gladiatorial pits. This is the story Killraven wanted to tell from the beginning, about how they fought this guy War with 2 R's. Kind of looks like a Ditko character. Very superhero-y. And I guess he was like the chief gladiator. And it seems kind of unfair. He gets to have these war spiders, these giant tarantulas. So, I don't know. It seems like at least Killraven and Old Skull should have some Wolverines or something. I don't know. Something to even out the odds. Got the letter page. And backstage at the gladiator pits, I'm sorry, I should mention Old Skull's hijacking the story again, leading up to that battle with War and his spiders. Just like when he was a kid, all the gladiators pick on him. Look at these gladiators, the way they're dressed. It's like an S&M bondage club, some kinky fetishist ball. Man, but I gotta say, Russell inked by Abel. There are some panels here that are so Steranko. Because, Russell took a lot from Steranko, but he had that, more feathery line that kind of hid his influence. But with Jack Abel's, sharp, clean inks, God, that's so Steranko right there. But then you get a face like that from Jack Abel. Oh, Jack. So Killraven saw these guys picking on Old Skull, and he beats the shit out of him. He doesn't like bullies. And this is when he first meets Old Skull. He actually names him that. He says, "I don't want to call you Numbskull. You seem to have a lot of wisdom. I'll call you Old Skull." And when he first shakes his hand, he's so strong. He's shaking Killraven. It's got a lot of good humor in it, this issue. So now finally, Old Skull's done. And Killraven tells the tale of fighting War. Such a dumb name. With 2 R's nonetheless. So Killraven and Old Skull make pretty short work of the tarantulas. And then War whips out his web, which is basically like this lash that burns the skin. And he gets Killraven right in the leg. Also, if you've noticed, Killraven's wearing his old costume, which he wore in the first 10 or 15 issues. And it is even worse than those other gladiators. It is just this total rubber latex fetish gear. And even P. Craig Russell's having a hard time drawing it and making it look good. That looks ridiculous to me. That's so silly. So this is the page I was thinking of with Jack Abel's inks. Very different than normal. Just kind of quick little slashiness. Almost like Frank Thorne or something. It looks very interesting. And with P. Craig Russell's great layouts and pencils, it's kind of neat. Of course, like I said, I'd prefer P. Craig Russell inking himself any day, but it's not bad. I love this fight choreography when they do stuff like this, showing you panel by panel. And Old Skull and Killraven defeat War and his last spider. And now, back in the present, Old Skull congratulates him for telling a good story. Says, you tell a good story, Mr. Killraven, once you get the proper setting. I kind of like how Old Skull is just clueless. And then that Axe Brother guy says, let's raise a toast to Killraven and all his fremen. And when everyone raises their glasses, they're all empty. And we hear Erp, and we look, and we see this raccoon totally drunk off his ass, crawling away. That was pretty funny. Very cute. Okay, so the very last issue of Amazing Adventures, number 39. Really nice cover by Russell. Man, fingers are not grabbing this comic today. So they're still in the swamp. This story is called Morning Prey. And we got Craig Russell Lincoln himself, Don McGregor author. They knew this was going to be the last issue, and Don McGregor dedicates it to P. Craig Russell for caring enough to add your own vision and challenge mine. That's kind of sweet that he does that, because they really were great partners. And this one, I think because Don McGregor knew it was the last issue, maybe he wrote it before he knew it, but this one seems extra obtuse. Like, Don McGregor's getting full-on poetic purple prose in some of these passages. So this is one of those stories where it starts the morning after the main event. Killraven's running through the swamp, the Okefenokee swamp, and all the shit seems to have happened. I actually thought that, oh shit, maybe I do need number 38. Maybe some substantial shit happened in that. But it's just the way he tells the story. Yeah, some of these captions not very good. So I almost thought it was a nightmare or a dream. Like, it's just so odd, and he's looking for everybody, all the freemen. He finds some of their steeds dead, some of those weird hybrid steeds, like Mashula and Carmilla's. But look at the art here. P. Craig Russell inking himself. It's very loose. So I wonder if, once again, P. Craig Russell had deadline problems. Weird shading there in the back. But I think he did this quick. Layouts are still really interesting. Still more interesting than most artists at the time, of course. But not up to his usual standards when he inks himself. So he finally finds Mashula, who's passed out. He wakes up. And they go off together looking for everybody. So they're with some of those guys from the Okefenokee Reserve, nature preserve. They're like acting as their guides. There's actually these three guys named Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So their path is blocked by this giant cocoon, and Killraven just blasts it. And all of these giant caterpillars fall out. And I'm sorry, I should have mentioned, this is now the morning before, or the day before. So now this is the kind of flashback. And all the caterpillars attack the freemen. That's a great panel. And they look up and they see this butterfly woman. Really love the way P. Craig Russell draws her. Kind of Kaluta-ish. So they don't know her intentions. She seems to be like, she flies away, then comes back, and is just kind of watching them. It's a great panel, too. Look at this. This totally reminds me of Barry Windsor Smith, this page. And he has these interrums, and these are very poetical. Interim 1. Am I saying that right? Interim? Creation. Look at it out there in the night dark marsh. You see it. You've seen it before. Seen it and denied its existence 1,000 times, all the while knowing it is there, caterpillars in the mind, devouring reason. Deny it again, and it will still be there come morning light. One of these days, you'll just have to face it. And, even after reading the issue, I'm not quite sure what these little interms are all about. So now we're back to the day after. Michelle and Kilraven are kind of limping around. Michelle's kind of hurt. And then they go back to the day before again. Flashback. Man, look at this double page spread. Some of it is like kind of loose, like I was saying. But look at this right here. Let me really open that up for you. That is some beautiful fucking shit. Love that. I mean, all this is great. The way it's laid out. This is just an amazing 2-page spread. So the butterfly lady shows up, and she's got like millions of butterflies. And they're actually like attacking everyone. I guess they're spitting formic acid from their mouths. So they're deadly butterflies. This is such a Don McGregor thing. Like, Camilla's like names her, gives her one of those like goofy names that Don McGregor loves, or kind of pretentious names. She's like, I would call her Morning Prey, Mourning. After the fact that her life has a sad-eyed melancholy quality locked within its beauty, and prey because she stalks us like a vengeful predator. So, no one in real life, I think, would do that. But Don McGregor feels the need. On this letter page, they have the yellow box that explains why War of the Worlds is being canceled. Amazing Adventures is being canceled. It just wasn't selling. Kind of sad. Because it was a great series. So now we're back the day after. And she seems to have some kind of psychic powers, because he says that something slashes at his mind. He tries to close it down, erect a barrier, anything. Her wings turn to bleeding colors, a wounded rainbow, mesmerizing and painful to the eyes. So he kind of has this like weird, trippy vision. And then we have another interim, 2, Metamorphosis. And this page, look at this. This is so nice. Once again, it's kind of like this obtuse poetry, very opaque. Don't get it at all, but I don't care. Just look at the art. And this was obviously not supposed to be the last Kilraven story, but it ended up being the last one for a long time. So the butterfly lady, Morning Prey, grabs Kilraven, flies her up into the air. Kilraven takes out his pistol, is going to shoot her. And she drops him. God, look at that. Some great stuff. Once again, really Barry Windsor Smith there. And so now we're back to the day after. And Michelle is like, Killraven, do you hear that? And they come out of the forest and they see Old Skull playing the flute, and all the butterflies are kind of dancing around him. And Carmilla's there, and some of the guys from the Okefenokee Nature Preserve, and Morning Pray's there, just hanging out with them. And Killraven's like, what? Because, she just tried to kill him the night before. Well, he tried to kill her, too. And this is kind of I don't know about this ending. It just doesn't really ring true character-wise. So, Old Skull, I guess, has been talking to Morning Prey, at least in his mind. She talks through her, mental telepathy. So Killraven says, so you and Morning Prey are good friends these days? And Old Skull says, Old Skull figures she'll forgive you, Mr. Killraven. Old Skull told Miss Prey you didn't mean no harm. Killraven still doesn't realize what he did. He's like, yeah, you killed her children. You killed all those caterpillars. And you tore a hole in the nest. Miss Prey, she knows we didn't have any idea that we're real sorry it happened. That's pretty cool, whatever's going on here. I guess representing her telepathy. And then Morning Prey kind of shakes Killraven's hand. And then we see in term 3, migration. And once again, the captions are pretty, I don't know what they are. They're not for me. And all the butterflies take to the sky, and Killraven watches with admiration how beautiful they all are. And then I imagine they added this. I think this is kind of cute. It's Old Skull. That's all, folks. So they must have just added that at the last minute when they found out it was the last issue. But I don't know. I mean, it's like, yeah, sure, you didn't know that those caterpillars were my babies, but they were my babies. You killed them. I can't just hang out with you smiling, listening to flute music, and just be like, oh, well, let bygones be bygones. Just seems very odd. But, of course, she is has a different mind than humans do, so. It's just great stuff. I don't know what's just a very different style than normal. And that's it for the 70s version of Killraven. Hope you guys enjoyed looking at these, but we're not done. Because in 10 or 12 episodes, we're going to wrap this up with the Killraven graphic novel. I believe from 1982, 1983, sometime around there. And Don McGregor and P. Craig Russell return. And P. Craig Russell is a very different artist in early 80s. And Don McGregor is kind of the same. for good and ill. And once again, I want to reiterate, I'm always chopping on Don McGregor, but really I love these comics. Even if he has some pretentious poetry here and there and purple prose, just the fact that he put a lot of heart into these characters and more than one dimension, which was so rare back then. I mean, no one was really doing that except for Steve Gerber and maybe Archie Goodwin whenever he'd write something. But yeah, I really like Don McGregor, even though I find lots of faults with his writing. P. Craig Russell, however, I can find no fault in, and just think he's almost everything he's ever done I fucking love. I have a big part of the Academy is dedicated to P. Craig Russell. It's probably a sixth of a shelf. It's a lot of stuff. I have almost everything he's ever done. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series, but like I said, it's not done, but for the most part, Amazing Adventures is done. and it ran its course. So thanks for watching, and also I hope to see you next time here at the Hercules-Petix Academy of Comic Book Studies.